Hey, hey, hey. Happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Thursday, July 27th, 2023. This is live stream 947. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and normally we'll take a first look at a tabletop game. Every once in a while, I'll do a live review. But tonight, we are going to be taking a first look and paging through the 2023 edition of Tome of Beasts, Volume 1 from Kobold Press. This is a bestiary for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and we will be diving on in just a bit. So if you're tuning in live because you want to see the page through, and you don't normally watch this show, I do want to let you know that we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So it's probably going to be about 40 minutes before we jump on into that first look. So if you are watching live, just relax, put your feet up, kick back. As the madman has pointed out, it is Friday Eve, or at least here in our neck of the woods, it is. But we will get to the look at Tome of Beasts in just a bit. But if you are tuning in after this stream has ended, there will be show notes. You are able to jump ahead. So there are timestamps in those show notes. And those timestamps might actually even be right there in the timeline of the video, depending on what device you happen to be watching this on. So if you're impatient and you don't care about anything else in the gaming industry except for Tome of Beasts, well, then I guess you can skip ahead if you're going to be that guy or gal. I'm just kidding. You can just jump ahead if you want. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. Plus, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you are a subscriber and you have been for at least 48 hours and you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about Tome of Beasts, Volume 1 you want a closer look at, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight was the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman, one of our chat moderators, is hanging with us tonight, as is Roger Perdome. 2 shows in a row that I've not called him Proger. Just going to pat myself on the back for that one. Russell Higgins is joining us, as is Coco B, Flaming Huron, our chat moderator from Australia, is with us, as is Kathy Evans and Testy Trekkie. So chat is off and running. Sweet. Do want to point out a couple of quick things before we jump on into the tabletop gaming news. First of all, I have an announcement to make. I will do it after the tabletop gaming news. It is about the future of this stream. You know, I had talked about maybe wrapping up doing the live streams at episode 1000, which isn't that far off. But some people were like, oh my God, oh, and it's like, you do realize it's like 6 months away. Only do 3 shows a week. We still have, well, now we've got 53 shows to go before we hit that 1,000 show mark. But I will have an announcement after I do the news. And then secondly, I am going to show you how you can get into the running to win this copy of the Tome of Beasts Volume 1 2023 edition. This is the pocket size. I'm going to tell you how you can get into the running to win my copy. So stay tuned. Unfortunately, last night I mentioned that I would be giving away a PDF of Tome of Beasts 1 to a live viewer, and it turns out I do not have a copy to give away. I apologize for that. I thought I did, but I do not. Tessie Trekkie has a quick question. I'm booking for Gen Con next year. Any hotel recommendations? I like Crown Plaza across the street, but you're not going to be able to book it now. It'll be blocked off. So most of the hotels that are downtown, you can't book for next year's Gen Con yet. Because most of them, I don't know if all of them, but most of them are going to have those days blocked off already. So as an example, there are many hotels in San Diego that do that won't take any bookings for the dates of San Diego Comic-Con because they've got a deal with San Diego Comic-Con for their hotel portal, or they call it a housing portal. So I gotta admit, I haven't stayed downtown too often. I've usually been off a bit. And there have been a couple of years that I end up staying in some pretty shaky locations. Well, once, I guess I'll say. And that was because someone was supposed to go. I'm not naming names. Someone was supposed to be going with me. They had made the hotel reservation. And then last minute, they said they weren't going to go. And of course, they didn't want to transfer the hotel reservation over to my name. It's like, huh? Thanks a lot. Plus, I mean, I gotta be honest, I didn't really want to be paying top dollar to just stay solo. But unfortunately, sorry, I can't really help you out. Flipping around says, name names, Jeff. No. It's water under the bridge. But man, that's a pretty big river. One last thing before I jump on into the news here. One of our chat moderators, Sarah D, was hanging out, lurking last night. And I did not see her mention that she had had a couple of surgeries on her legs over the past couple of weeks. I didn't see. That's one of the things when I'm doing the show and that, especially when I'm doing news or doing a page through, first look, things like that. A lot of chat goes by that I don't catch. And I apologize that I don't respond to everything. I'm not, trying to be rude or anything like that. So I did not see that. So if Sarah D's lurking around tonight, well wishes. Hope you get better soon. I did see that she had mentioned that she can't stay, still in one place for too long. So So she's got to move around, which I can understand if you've had some surgery on your legs. You got to keep that blood flowing, right? So, well wishes, get well soon, Sarah. So, watch tonight. She's not watching. She's like, should have watched this episode. She's like, I've had enough of this ass clown. I'm not watching that show anymore. All right, let's jump on into the news. Because later this year is going to see the release of Tiny Epic Crimes from Gamelyn Games. Yes, that's right. And I've got the dope, you mugs. Tiny Epic Crimes is a fast-paced crime-fighting deduction game for 1 to 4 players that offers multiple ways to play. The game can be enjoyed competitively, cooperatively, or solo. Players take on the roles of detectives and, depending on the game mode, will be working either together or separately to crack the murder case. Time matters, and the first 48 hours after any crime are the most critical. Players race around Echo Ridge City collecting evidence, such as the murder weapon, forensics, or the getaway vehicle, or the rope or candlestick, and they're tailing Colonel Mustard. Yeah, I'm just throwing that in. This secret evidence is sifted through using the novel Tiny Epic Decoder system, which keeps all of the murderer's other evidence hidden. This knowledge eliminates suspects and helps identify the true killer. The crime doesn't stop for one investigation. Players must answer the call of duty, juggling their time as other criminal activities arise across the city. Guess these guys aren't doing their jobs very well if there's a crime wave going on. Resolving these events allow players to gain useful alibis and powerful force cards, but knowing full well that their actions will take them hours closer to a reckoning. In their final hour, players will stake their careers on a final guess who they think the murderer really is, hoping that their wits and detective skills are enough to bring the correct suspect to justice. Can you hold this city of crime together long enough to crack the case? Or will it go cold and your time on the force run out? Tiny Epic Crimes is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 30 to 60 minutes. Can carry an MSRP of approximately, or I guess I'm just taking a wild stab here, $30 when it arrives in Q4. That is usually the retail price for the Tiny Epic games when they go to retail. It's usually 25 to 30. So Sarah D says, yes, they are watching. Not offended at all. Well, I didn't think you were offended, but says second surgery recovery is going much better than the first. Very nice. Very nice. Good to hear. Agent Especial is joining us tonight from the Amazon. No joke. He really is. Yes. So this is one of 2 games tonight that I completely missed the Kickstarters. And it's kind of weird because the Tiny Epic games I'm usually pretty up on when they have a Kickstarter. I had no idea that this successfully kickstarted and it's slated for an October release. Well, I shouldn't say October, Q4. It's got a Q4 release. Looks kind of cool. And of course, the decoder system is just the little red-blue sort of thing where you take the, it's like almost like a red lens and hold it over so you can see. So Agent Especial says they're in the Amazon for a short time. Soon they will be moving to the roof of the world. It's like, oh my gosh, Mount Chimborazo? Not even familiar with that. So once again, that is Tiny Epic Crimes. On to the next news piece. Renegade Game Studios has released a new edition of the classic Robo Rally. Here's the lowdown. If you thought that factory robots took the weekend off like you do, well, like most of you do, then you haven't seen a Robo Rally yet. When the supervisors are gone and the cameras have been angled to watch the ceiling, the robots take charge and participate in exciting and deadly race/battles. Robo Rally is a competitive racing game full of robotic chaos. Program your robot to tag checkpoints, attach powerful upgrades, and turn this dreary old warehouse into a fabulous, fast, and frenzied fun factory. The game includes 6 pre-painted robot miniatures and 4 double-sided factory game boards with 13 pre-made race courses and more than 80 different possible race courses. The rules feature options for short or long races, starter through advanced courses, and variants for play. Robo Rally is for 2 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 45 to 90 minutes, and carries an MSRP of $50. Nice to see a classic return, and I gotta say, it looks like the paint job on these robots is pretty nicely done. A lot of times these pre-paints are pretty bad. But now, granted, these might look nicer than the ones that come with the game. I don't know. But that looks like a pretty nice paint job. So as far as I recall, now, if you were a war gamer, then especially back around the point in time that Robo Rally originally came out, and I think it was like late 80s. If you were a war gamer, then you were used to games where you actually had to program your next turn. That was, I don't want to say common, but it was not an unusual mechanic. But as far as just family board games go, it was pretty radically different. And that was one of the things that really made Robo Rally stand out at the time. So speaking of Renegade Game Studios, I'm supposed to be going to their special press event that is Thursday, a week from tonight, at Gen Con. So I have requested, I don't know if I'll receive them, but I have requested review copies of, for some reason, I think I asked for Robo Rally, but I do know that I asked for a review copy of the new edition of Diplomacy, as well as the Axis and Allies 1914, which personally I think is kind of silly to call it Axis and Allies 1914, because there were no Axis and there were no Allies in World War I. It would have been the, what the hell did they call it? Well, it was the Central Powers. That was Germany and Austria and Hungary. The Turks, things like that. And then wasn't it like the Triple Entente or something like that? Some French word. There we go. Thank you. Testy Trekkies chiming in with that. So yes, it's kind. I find it kind of odd. It's Axis and Allies 1914. Entente. That's it. I think that's how it's pronounced. Third news item currently up for crowdfunding from Sinister Fish is Wizards & Co. Or might be called Wizards & Company, but I think it's Wizards & Co. Here's a scoop. Wizards & Co. is a competitive dungeon raiding game from the celebrated Italian design group Achitolca, consisting of, get ready, I'm going to mispronounce all these names, Virginio Gigli, Flaminia Brazzini, Stefano Luperto, and Antonio Tinto. 3 out of 4 of those I got wrong. I know it. Together and in various combinations, they've designed such beloved games as Lorenzo il Magnifico, Grand Austria Hotel, Igizia, Alma Mater, Terramara, and many more. The fabulous creature artwork is by industry legend Miguel Coimbra, whose work you may know from Seven Wonders or Seven Wonders Duel or Cyclades, Small World, and many more. The High Necromancer is dead. His dungeons lie unguarded, packed full of gems and artifacts ripe for plunder. There's just one problem. The enchanted treasure vault can only be breached by a wizard. A good job, then, that you're a wizard. A greedy wizard with time on your hands and no respect for the dead. You need a crew to carry all the riches home. So you head to the Henchpersons and Minions Guild and go for the deal of the day. 10 of the meanest beasts, bullies, and brutes available. They may not smell so good, but they'll get the job done. However, you're not the only gem-grabbing spell slinger with flexible morals and a sneaky strategy. For rival wizards have come to take the treasures that should be yours. It's annoying that they hired the same gang of minions as you. But it was a great deal. You and your adversaries are evenly matched, so you'll need to deploy your underlings carefully. They'll enter dungeons as you command, clashing with their rivals, battling for loot, all while navigating the enchantments left by the necromancer. The artifacts you'll find might swing things in your favor, allowing you to wield weapons of legend and summon horrifying monsters to fight for you. With the Steel Sentinel by your side, how can you fail? Fight well and wisely, or just fight dirty. Either way, bring back as much loot as you can because only one wizard can be victorious. Wizards & Co. is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 30 to 60 minutes. This Kickstarter project is currently right on the brink of 200% funding. You can reserve a copy of the game, including a special loot drop expansion, for a pledge of approximately $32, because I want to say Sinister Fish is out of the UK. And you can make that pledge through August 9th. Expected delivery is next May. Now, you might know Sinister Fish from such games as Villagers and Streets, which I have covered both of those games in the past. This is kind of a departure from what I'm used to seeing from Sinister Fish, or at least with those two games that I have seen from Sinister Fish. Looks pretty cool. And it's $32. I mean, that's pretty low priced game. And I love the artwork. The artwork is fantastic. I would have shared a video, but unfortunately, that music would have flagged me for a copyright violation. So no video for you. I had considered actually playing the video without any sort of audio, just me talking over it. But there is narration in the video. So I was like, I guess I better not. And it was only a minute long. So not missing a whole lot. Go check out the Kickstarter and check out the video there. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news, because this month marks the beginning of the latest Pathfinder adventure path. That's right. It is Sky King's Tomb from Paizo Inc. And here's the lowdown on the first chapter, Mantle of Gold. Invited to a prestigious storytelling festival in High Helm, the greatest dwarven city, a clan's eclectic guests explore every corner of the metropolis to build their own legends. Yet when these budding celebrities find a relic linked to one of dwarvenkind's greatest heroes, they're drawn into a mysterious ancient urban intrigue that kicks off a deadly treasure hunt. Mantle of Gold is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 first-level characters. This adventure begins the Sky King's Tomb adventure path, as I mentioned previously, a 3-part monthly campaign in which a group of adventurers travel deep underground to discover a legendary dwarven king's tomb, seek subterranean treasures, and heal millennia-old injustices, all while stopping an ambitious villain from weaponizing those same discoveries. This adventure also includes a detailed look at lost dwarven treasures, tricks for adventuring in the dark, potent relics, and several monsters that threaten underground explorers. Each monthly full-color softcover Pathfinder Adventure Path volume, say that 5 times fast, contains an in-depth adventure scenario, stats for several new monsters, and support articles meant to give game masters additional material to expand their campaign. Pathfinder Adventure Path volumes use the open game license and work with both Pathfinder and the world's oldest fantasy role-playing game. The 96-page adventure, I'm taking a guess it's 96, probably 94, 96. Adventure arrives on August 3rd. That's right. It is a Gen Con timed release. It's going to carry an MSRP of $26.99, or you can grab just the PDF alone for $19.99. Cool. I always like to see the latest Pathfinder Adventure Path. Of course, you know it. You're going to see video of that adventure path as well as the 2 other releases that are hitting. They are in transit right now. I figure I should have them and have the Paizo preview video for July up before I head off to Gen Con. And it is going to be this. There is a Starfinder flip mat, and probably most importantly, what everybody's looking forward to is Rage of Elements, which has the new Kineticist class. Yes. Tessie Trekkie says the Pathfinder Adventure Paths work with the world's oldest role-playing game, Chainmail. Okay, 2 things. 1, Chainmail is not a role-playing game. Chainmail is miniatures rules. Number 2, Chainmail's not really fantasy. It was historical. Although, thinking back, didn't they add like an appendix with fantasy stuff? But I could have swore the original Chainmail did not have any fantasy stuff in it. It was just historical miniatures. But I get what Testy Trekkie's trying to kid about. Yes. Agent Especial mentioned there are a lot of dungeon crawlers for kids coming out. Well, there are a lot of dungeon crawlers for kids that are already out. So, final news piece coming in October, or at least slated for an October release, from SoulMuppet Publishing comes Inevitable. And here's the skinny. Knights and wizards had defended the kingdom of myth for centuries. These lands have known peace and prosperity, but soon they shall lie barren. The prophets have declared that your city shall burn and myth will fall. All those who follow your king shall die. It is inevitable. But you shall defy fate. Myth will not end while you bear arms. You will fail. But as long as there are still stories, they will sing of you. Inevitable is a new role-playing game system from SoulMuppet Publishing, the creators and publishers behind Orbital Blues, Best Left Buried, Stygian Library, and dozens of other role-playing game systems and adventures. The book is a focused system for a play-to-lose Arthurian Western campaign. Yes, you heard that correctly. So what does that mean? Arthurian, sad nights, a king who is doing his best, but badly. Foolish virtue quests, doomed to fail. And let's not forget, women in lakes. So, Western, sweeping deserts, dusty heroes wearing big boots and bigger hats, can of beans cooked on a campfire, and 6 shooters. Play to lose. Your kingdom's going to be destroyed. It is inevitable. Play to find out how. But remember, there's no way to win. It's also a focus system. Your characters serve the king of myth, and you're trying to prevent the destruction of his kingdom and your civilization. The system is linked intrinsically to telling the story in this system and finely tuned to create the perfect Arthurian Western campaign. And of course, while Inevitable provides options for one shots and short campaigns, including the one that's in the quick start I'm going to talk about, the material in the book supports a full length campaign with minimal prep. A traditional Inevitable campaign runs between 3 and 6 months, choosing 3 of the available 6 dooms. However, should you choose to use all the material and embark on this quixotic, almost impossible quest to save the world, you could be playing for years if you'd like. Right now, you can get a peek at this quick starter for Inevitable. This was another Kickstarter that I missed. I was like, really? Because usually I'm on top of what SoulMuppet releases, share news about them all the time. So this wrapped up very recently. There is a quick start, which is available over on Drive-Thru RPG. It's absolutely free, and it will give you a peek at Inevitable and what this game is all about. So Tessie Trekkie says, Inevitable's released a double-sided quick start that's a weird little foldable zine. I know the PDF on Drive-Thru RPG indicates it is 16 pages, if I remember right. So I thought this sounded kind of interesting. And as I mentioned yesterday, I am going to be meeting with Rowan, Rook, and Descartes at Gen Con. They have ties with SoulMuppet. And it's kind of wild because the person I've been, corresponding with back and forth said they're going to have me pick up a copy of a role-playing game there. And they said that if that person happens to be at the booth when I get there, they're going to give me a copy of Orbital Blues. I was like, okay. I'm like, but you've got to be there to get it. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, they've got a tie-in with Rowan, Rook, Descartes, which I think they both have ties to Exalted Funeral, who I am trying to touch base with because I would like to kind of get on board with them because they've got a lot of really interesting and off-the-wall role-playing games, and they do a lot of OSR stuff as well. Tessie Trekkie says, SoulMuppet is gold. Orbital Blues rocks. If I remember right, Sammy did a review for Orbital Blues. And of course, I've reviewed Best Left Buried Deeper, which I thought was great. I thought it was really, really nicely done. All right, that is it for the news tonight. So I was just talking about the quick start for Inevitable over at Drive-Thru RPG. Don't forget, thegaminggang.com is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So that means the Gaming Gang Dispatch is also affiliated. So if you are going to go visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild, Storyteller's Vault, what have you, any of the One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And those nickels, dimes, and quarters go a long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. Should also mention that the Christmas in July sale is currently taking place over at Drive-Thru RPG. It's one of the 2 big sales that Drive-Thru RPG normally has. They got a lot of sales that go on. But both the Black Friday and the Christmas in July are the sales where you get the biggest discounts and it tackles the largest number of PDFs. So there are tens of thousands of gaming PDFs that are currently on sale across all of the One Bookshelf sites. So don't miss out. I think you've got 5 days left on that sale. Plus, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, by all means, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a small donation. And there are quite a few people out there who utilize the banner ads and or visit paypal.me, such as Joshua Edwards, who recently made a not small donation over at paypal.me/thegaminggang. So thank you very much, everybody. It's really important that I mention this like on every show. I know some people don't like it. I know it's all of 2 minutes long out of an entire hour and a half usually. But that's what keeps me around. I mean, I get some advertisers and I do a handful of Kickstarter preview videos a year, but it really is paypal.me and DriveThruRPG that helps keep the website around. And I've said it time and time again. We don't have no GoDaddy $5 hosting for the website. We can't pull in over 1 million unique visitors a year on cheapo hosting. And if you have visited thegaminggang.com, you know that website loads pretty quick. It is pretty fast. I take great pride in that. I have tweaked that and tweaked that and tweaked that till my fingers bled. Not really. My head ached, but my fingers didn't bleed. All right. So, Flaming Heron says, hopefully there's more than nickels, dimes, and quarters from them in the Christmas in July sale. Tessie Trekkies talking about Shadows of Mog. I got to be honest. I did share a first look at that. I didn't really care for the game, so I did not do a review. So, yeah. Do want to point that out. I forgot that SoulMuppet is a lot of different writers in that. It's not just like a handful, like 2 or 3 creators. So, maybe I'll take a look at it again. I don't know. Maybe it caught me on the wrong day or something. But yes, I do recall sharing a first look. All right, so we are going to be diving on in, taking a look at Tome of Beasts I, the 2023 edition. I have a sneeze coming on. I could feel it. It's like, all right, it sort of went away. Might come back at any moment. I'm going to try to sneeze during the brief intermission. That's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to hold it off. Fight it. Anyway, we're going to be looking at Tome of Beasts Volume 1, the 2023 edition, in just a few moments. But there are a couple of things I did want to tackle. So first of all, I did mention that I have an announcement about the future of the Gaming Gang Dispatch as of September 1st. What I am looking to do, and please let me know in the comments section, not in chat. And of course, remember, you can't comment on the videos until the stream is over, but you can comment right after the stream is over. Let me know what you think. So, this kind of breaks down into 2 parts. First of all, I am going to focus even more on role-playing games than I do currently. I am getting tired of seeing the same people in the board gaming arena get all of the review copies. So as an example, I was going to share a news piece today. This isn't sour grapes. There's a point to this. So I was going to share a news piece today about The Witcher Old World because it's now out, and that's a big game. Standard edition's $100. If you want the deluxe edition, which I believe includes miniatures, I think the standard edition is just standees, is essentially a $200 game. And there are a lot of expansions to it as well that have come out at the same time. I think there's like 4 expansions with more minis and stuff like that. So anyway, so I thought of sharing a news piece about it. And as I was kind of taking a peek around, I saw a couple of videos. I didn't watch them. I stumbled across them, and they were like showing off the game. They weren't reviews, they were like previews. And one of the channels had fewer than 1,000 subscribers, and the other had around 2,000 subscribers. And their videos, the guy who had less than 1,000 subscribers, that video had around 10,000 views. And the other person, they had like 24,000 views. And it's gotten to the point where, and I completely understand, these game companies can't send out 100 review copies. That's like anywhere from 10 to 20 to maybe more % of their print run. Can't be sending out that many, right, review copies to everybody. But the problem becomes these channels and these outlets and things like that. And these, and I'm not going to name the outlets because I have nothing against them. I'm just pointing out very few subscribers, got a lot of views on those videos, and got a lot of views on those videos because that is a big game. That is a big game that people have been really excited to see. I don't know if it's any good or not a clue. But the reason why they've got all those views is because they received those games. So what happens is then they go and other publishers see, oh, wow, you got 30,000 views on that video. Well, hell, man, I want to make sure that I send my game to you. And then everybody's left out. Everybody else is left out. So it's starting to get to the point where it's just way too compact as far as the board game companies. And, you know, I don't play the way other people play. You already know I'm not much of an ass kisser or anything like that. It's just not my style. I have no time for it. So, but I'm not, it's not like I'm not going to cover any board games because I still have nice relationships with some companies out there, and I'm going to continue those relationships, but I'm not going to actively seek out board games anymore at all. Because personally, I think more than half of the board game reviewers out there, I know I'm going to get kicked in the ass for saying this. I think they suck. I really do. They all say the same fucking thing. I get the impression that a good many of them don't actually play the games, that they actually just read the rules to the games and then they watch other reviews and then make up their own review. And I am so sorry, but you can't review a board game in 3 minutes or a minute. I am sorry. That shit don't fly, at least in my book. And if I were a game publisher, I wouldn't send anything to those people who do these 3-minute game reviews, 1 minute, 60-second game review. Well, it took me longer than 3 minutes to design the game. Do you think you could have invested more than 3 minutes into covering the game? Anyway, so, yeah, so I mean, that's kind of the thing. I just, I get tired of seeing the same hacks covering every single game out there. And it's like, and once again, I'm not naming names. I don't have anything personally against a lot of these people. Most of these people I just stumble across. So if you think I'm talking about, because everybody always assumes I'm talking about Tom and the Dice Tower, I am not. I am not talking about Tom Vassell and the gang at Dice Tower. I think they have pretty much established their bona fides, or I always said bona fides, but I guess everybody seems to pronounce it bona fides now. Yeah, I think they've done that. Now, do Tom and I agree on games and stuff like that? No, we don't. But that, they're legit. But yeah, there's just so many outlets out there where it's like they just try to crank out review after review after review after review after review. There's no way they're playing these games. There's no way they're playing the games enough times to actually provide you with a review. And I am sorry, I get really tired of seeing the same outlets who say, this is the best XYZ genre game I've ever played, until the next XYZ genre game I play for a Kickstarter. So I am going to be far more heavily into role-playing games. So that's that. I mean, that's that portion. So the big deal, the announcement I have for the Gaming Gang Dispatch is that as of September 1st, once again, let me know what you think in the comments section. You don't need to let me know what you think about my little rant there. That's not what I was asking for a comment on. I am thinking of doing 4 shows a week, Monday through Thursday, but what I am going to do is 2 shows a week, tabletop gaming news. 2 shows a week are going to be first looks reviews. So it'll be 4 shows a week, but they will be shorter. So because right now, on average, the show runs hour 15-ish. Usually it's about an hour 20. Sometimes it's an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. And I do believe that length of show turns some people off. Turns some people off from even watching. That they'll see, oh man, that video is an hour 20 minutes long, and he's unboxing that game. Nah, I'm not gonna watch that. So Flaming Red says, do the goofy look, Jeff, and point at the box. For my thumbnails, yeah. That's another one that it's like, oh, that is just so, everybody's so over that. Hang on here. Like, I see that, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, if that thumbnail is what brings people to watch your video, and yes, I understand we are living in an idiocracy. I get it. Get off my lawn. But still, when you see like, and I look at that, I'm like, I'm not even a big fan of putting my mug on the thumbnails for these shows. But I had been told, you really need to, put your face on it. I'm like, all right, fine. Okay. Flaming Heron said that may send me away from the review. Yes. And I'd be trying to find out where that person lived so I could notify the authorities. They might be on the loose. So that is what I'm bouncing around, is 4 shows a week, Monday through Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Central. And 2 nights will be tabletop gaming news. So we're looking at, of course, it'd be more than the 5 I usually do. It's probably like 7. And then also 2 nights a week would be first looks or reviews, Plus, of course, there's still going to be more standalone videos and things like that, as always. So when the show is over, if you're still watching, you may already tuned out. Ooh, Jeff said fuck. I don't like when he does that. I'm not watching this anymore. I'm going to watch Adele videos. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Remember, not in chat. Don't be late, because I don't want to have to go watch this again, right? I usually pop through the video so I can do my timestamps, and that's it. So I don't like sit and watch the video again. So that's why I'm saying don't let me know in chat. Let me know in the comment section. Plus, comment section, you're going to be using that for the contest as well. All righty then. So we are going to be diving on into Tome of Beasts Volume 1, the 2023 edition, in just a few moments. But you know what's coming. You know what is on the horizon. So get set, get ready. I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
You can't persuade me to drink Wilkins instant coffee.
Pretty please?
Ouch, okay.
Just a stab in the dark.
Hi out there, this is your old magician Sugar Bear with a magic trick, free and super sugar crisp. 5 different magic tricks and all, like the disappearing ball. Now you see it, now you don't. And the imp in the bottle, you know what? Won't stand up. Abracadabra, he stands up. Lovely assistant, may I have a dime, please? Put it in the disappearing dime trick. It's gone. There's also the card trick and bottle cap trick. Get one in each box. Free, 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 and post super sugar crisp.
For cool summer splashing fun, get Water Wiggle. It's fun, it wiggles, it's wild, you bet. Just try to catch it and not get wet. Water Wiggle, it's a crazy way to cool off. Slide into exciting summer fun with the Jet Spray Slip and Slide, the sliding, slippery way to cool off. Hundreds of water jets give you fun action. Slip and Slide and Water Wiggle sold separately from Whammo.
And now, on with the show.
What they failed to show you with that Water Wiggle, because I remember those, is how they would just smack you in the face. So the one kid who falls into the pool, the little like wading pool or whatever you consider that, actually probably got hit in the face with the damn thing. Bam! Knocked him back. And yes, Wontkins lives. Although he's been stabbed a few times, at least he was still alive at the end of the commercial. Yes. Coco B says, wow, even by the standards of the day, that first clip was not appetizing. Scott B. Smith is with us in chat. Sorry if I've missed saying hello to some of you. Or maybe you popped in a little bit late. Says that kid was out by a TKO. Yes. Kevin says, yeah, I love how they use pictures of plain hot dogs to try to whet your appetites. Well, what can I tell you? There's actually one that I've shown where the hot dog is on a piece of bread, folded piece of bread. Batman says, yes, those water wiggles really tested your dexterity. Flaming Huron says that he likes his buns. Okay, all right. Okay, so we are going to jump on in and take a first look at Tome of Beasts Volume 1. This is the 2023 edition for 5e Dungeons & Dragons. It's from our friends over at Kobold Press. So, this hardcover we're going to take a look at carries an MSRP of $59.99. You can also get it in the Pocket Digest, which you are going to have an opportunity to win. And I'm going to tell you about that in a moment. Pocket Digest is $29.99, or you can grab the PDF. That is also $29.99. Unless you go to Drive-Thru RPG right now with the Christmas in July sale I was talking about earlier, you can save some money on it there. So it's a little bit less than $29.99. So before I change cameras, I am going to tell you how you can get into the running to win this pocket edition. And once again, if you're tuning in late, I do apologize. Last night I said I was going to give away a copy of the PDF to a lucky live viewer, but I didn't realize I don't have a PDF to give away. I thought I did. I do not. So I apologize, but I'm going to tell you how to get into the running for this pocket edition. So 3 things. Number 1, you must be a subscriber to the Gaming Gang channel. Number 2, please give the video a thumbs up. I can't tell if you do or not, but please do. And then number 3, what I'd like you to do is tell me, out of the various different creatures we'll see in Tome of Beasts 1, which one is your favorite and why? Easy peasy. So I will reveal the winner when I share my review of Tome of Beasts 1. Now, I should point out, you can still get into the running for the limited edition copy of Peculiar Discoveries. If you have not checked out that video, definitely give a peek. I know it's not Kobold Press, but there is still another contest you can jump into. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got the 2023 edition of Tome of Beasts Volume 1. Loads of authors, loads of artists. So let's first of all take a look at the back. Do want to mention our friends over at Kobold Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But no one affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this video with you. And it's important that you know that, especially these days. Let's take a look at the back here. Dungeon Master. A collection of hundreds of eyes floats down the corridor toward you, dripping caustic fluid that sizzles when it hits the ground. What do? Player. I retire and become a farmer. Whether you need dungeon vermin or world-shaking villains, the Tome of Beasts 2023 edition has it. This book presents more than 400 foes suitable for any campaign setting, from tiny drakes and peculiar spiders to demon lords and ancient dragons. Tome of Beasts 2023 edition introduces new foes and upgrades monsters that originally appeared in Tome of Beasts. And then it's going to tell us what's in there, which we're going to take a peek at anyway. So let's dive on in. Cool kobold there. So let's see. Oh, you know what? It's not as many designers as I thought. It's Dan Dillon, Chris Harris, Rodrigo Garcia Carmona, and Wolfgang Bauer. I thought there were a bunch. There are a bunch of artists, though. That much I can tell you. So, and that is the limited edition cover. I think the limited edition cover goes for, I think it's MSRP $79.99, if I remember correctly. So we've got our contents. Now, keep in mind, we're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a really good feel for what's in this. Bestiaries always do well, especially if they're nicely presented bestiaries. And we are going to stop and kind of dig a little deeper into some of the various entries here. So it says, written primarily for game masters, this book features over 400 new creatures to use in your games. For players, this book features a handful of new familiars and beasts, perfect for characters seeking companions or druids seeking new beasts for wild shape. If you are a player reading this book, be sure to check with your game master before selecting any of these creatures as familiars or companions or for wild shape. So it is discussing alignment and creature behavior, talking about languages. It says several creatures in this book know or speak the umbral or void speech languages, which can be substituted for other languages if these languages don't fit in your world. Refreshing a classic. See, this is what I was kind of curious about, is why they were kind of revamping the original Tome of Beasts. Oh, there you go. There's a madman asking the same question. What's different between the 2023 release and the original Tome of Beasts 1? Because they have the original. Well, you're going to get to see some things. So let's see. What does Wolfgang Bauer have to say? Let's see if we can. I'm just kind of skipping ahead. Okay, so it says, this new printing of our very first hardcover monster book for 5th edition provides dungeon vermin and world-shaking villains, and it does so with a small refresh of these monsters and improvements of the volume on a whole, or as a whole. The wisdom of years of play shows we could tighten here and errata there. In some cases, our understanding of both monster rules and monster stats have evolved over time. It was time to address that. This 2023 edition also adds significant new art to strengthen the look and feel of these creatures, and it corrects several early errors and omissions, including the omission of reference tables of the monsters by terrain and by type. The Kobold Press team has also made lore changes. A wormling version of the mithril dragon is now available, along with an ancient version of the cave dragon. Other new creatures include the Plain Watcher, the Vengeful Spirit, and a couple others for you to discover. To make the makeover complete, we included rules material like each monster's proficiency bonus, and we streamlined rules and game mechanics to improve the playability of many creatures. So that's kind of telling you what's going on. Man, this is not sure my wife would approve of me seeking companions. Yeah, especially when they take on that wild shape. Do want to mention there is a new playtest version of the Black Flag, Tales of the Valiant from Kobold Press. I want to say it arrived yesterday, day before yesterday. All right, so let's start taking a peek through. The Engatra. The withered creature wrapped in gore-stained rags pulls back a tattered hood to reveal glowing eyes, hungry with bloodlust. In certain tribes, the breaking of local taboos invites terrible retribution from ancestral spirits, especially if the transgressor was a tribal leader or elder. The transgressor is cursed and cast out from the tribe. Then it is hunted and executed. The body is wrapped head to toe in llama cloth to soothe the spirit and to bind it within the mortal husk, then sealed in a tomb far from traditional burial grounds, so none may disturb it and its unclean spirit does not taint the blessed dead. Aha! It's kind of cool. I like that. Jeez. Did you hear about the knight that was hard of hearing? This Tessie Trekkie. He kept trying to lay the dragon. Ma! Anthony Good is joining us in chat. Good to see you, Anthony. It's kind of didn't even think of that. It's Anthony Good, and it's good to see Anthony. All right. Okay, Jeff. All right, let's see. Giant ant. Dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant. Several pony-sized ants swarm around an ant the size of a draft horse, clacking their serrated mandibles and threatening with their stingers. Giant ants look much like a normal ant with 6 legs, a waspish segmented body, and large antennae. So if you didn't know what a wasp looks like, would that help you, that description? The waspish segmented body? Their hides are covered in thick chitin, and they have large serrated mandibles flanking their mouths and stingers on their tails. These stingers are the size of a short sword, and they're capable of stabbing and poisoning a human to death. Isn't that different than a regular ant? Ants don't have stingers. They use their, although I got to point to, well, I was going to say, look, those are pretty small mandibles. It's like, no, those are the mandibles, Jeff. Oh, I like the artwork. Kobold Press, their production quality is really, really nice. And when we wrap up, I'll show you what just arrived today. Don't let me forget. So Flaming Heron says, the jokes keep coming. Madman says that Kevin R. Smith says in response to the Madman that they think that this is supposed to be somewhat forward compatible with Tales of the Valiant, but they're not sure how can they do that with just an alpha. Okay, so we've got Baba Yaga's horsemen. These mounted knights wield great weapons as swift as dawn, as bright as the blazing sun, as cold as the grave. The white horseman is a young rider full of promise. The red rider is a man in his prime, and the black rider a scarred and bearded fellow, his eyes dark and his mouth set in a grim frown. They ride with purpose on powerful steeds. Baba Yaga's 3 horsemen are legends in their own right. Bright Day, Red Sun, and Black Night, also known as the White, Red, and Black Horsemen, are her faithful emissaries, scouts, and warriors abroad. The 3 horsemen change over time, but they are typically male human warriors. Their appearance is distinctive. Each horseman dresses in colors and lacquered armor. Lacquered. Yeah, they're all liquored up, baby. That armor be drunk. Coco B says, wasp, the insect, the band, or Protestant? Yes, that giant ant is a sectioned white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Let's see, where did I leave off? Their roles appear to coincide with their appointed offices, although their precise relationship to Baba Yaga is the source of much speculation. I'm curious, is Baba Yaga, was that Russian folklore? I'm curious. I'm curious where the origins of Baba Yaga lie. Madman says fire ants, harvester ants, and oak ants, which I've seen fire ants. I don't think I've seen harvester ants or oak ants have stingers. Wow, okay. That I did not know. So now I have to have that that star kind of shoot across. I'll have the more you know. Thanks, Madman. So Kevin says, yeah, he's pretty sure Baba Yaga is Russian. Bear folk. Oh, that's cool. He's not looking too happy. Although it has the head of a shaggy bear, this humanoid creature wears armor and carries a battle axe in one massive clawed hand and a warhammer in the other. It is a solid slab of muscle that towers over most humans. The hulking bear folk are intimidating creatures, brutish and powerful. They combine features of humanoid beings and bears. Their heads are ursine with heavy jaws and sharp teeth. Dark fur covers their muscular bodies. Adult bear folk stand at least 7 feet tall and weigh more than 600 pounds. Bear folk are almost universally, let's try to get that word out again. Bear folk are almost universally the subjects of the Bear King, see page 172. The bear folk protect the cities of their northern kingdom and roam the wooded roads of the wilderness. The greatest number of bear folk are concentrated around the court of the Bear King himself, with ancient bear jarls governing their unruly kin. Only a handful of renegades, exiles, and other rogue bear folk live permanently outside this society. Nice. We got a temple cat. Bastet. So it looks as if each of our creatures is receiving a full page. A couple have been a little more than a full page. Okay, that's pretty bizarre. I'm kind of curious as we take a peek through here. I'm wondering how many of you out there are familiar with the Fiend Folio, the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons bestiary that came out that was filled with a lot of monsters that were like created by British designers and things like that. In my opinion, and I have a copy of it, it's actually behind me. I was never a big fan because sometimes a lot of those creatures just seem to have been like bizarre for the, just for the sake of being bizarre. So it was like, I don't know. Kevin says, according to Wikipedia, the first known reference to Baba Yaga is in Russian children's grammar, in a Russian children's grammar book in 1755. But the story was probably in a bunch of Slavic languages before that. Oh, I would think that. Yeah. Kevin says, I know the Fiend Folio. I remember that cover. Yeah, isn't that the first appearance of, what is it, the Githlaki? Is that how they're pronounced? There's like two of them, two races, very similar as far as their names. All right, so we have the Dao. A constant shimmer surrounds this short-winged creature, staring at its eye-watering and confusing, like a distant desert mirage, though it's scant yards away. Daos are creatures of haze and illusion. They stand 3 feet tall with sandy skin and are surrounded by a shimmering aura like a heat haze. They are flighty, physically weak and unfocused, but agile in body and wit. Their ability to magically provide for themselves in most material ways tends to make Daos lazy and hedonistic. As a result, Daos are often friendly and eager for company. They invite friends and strangers alike to rest in their lairs, partake in their feasts, and share their stories. However, a Dao's hospitality turns to cruelty when guests breach its intricate rules of etiquette. All right, Sarah D's calling it an evening. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for hanging with us once again. Hopefully, you're continuing to be on the mend. And hopefully we see you after I get back from Gen Con. Demon Lord Korgith. Come on, it's me. You know, I'm just here to mispronounce fictional people, places, and things. Ooh, it's got layer actions. So this is a big bad. as in big size bad. So we got different demons here. The devils. Oh, that's pretty wild. Automata. A nightmare wrapped in chains and held together by cutting cogs and whirring gears. This fiend howls like a hurricane in battle. Sometimes called castigus, automata devils are made to monitor others. They are often put in charge of prisoners or infernal factories. This slender creature's skin is pierced with barbs, sharp nails, and coils of wire, which have been threaded through its flesh. Chains are buried under blisters and scabs. Ooh, that's nice. This infernal horror's eyelids, both front and back pairs, are sewn back with wire, while 6 arms ending in large grasping hands erupt from its shoulders. So obviously you're going to be utilizing this monster with games that are aimed at, the small kids. If you don't want those children to ever sleep again. This creature's head is a dark mass ending in 2 large mandibles. By its side, it carries a huge coiled whip that squirms like a snake and is said to scent lies and treachery. The creature's stomach opens up like a second mouth, lined with tooth-like spines. Yes. Jesus Nava is popping on into chat. Kathy Evans said that they're familiar with the Fiend Folio. Vanman points out it's the Githyanki and the Gith Zero, or Zirai. As you can see, I never used them in any games. That's why I don't know how to pronounce their names. The dragon eel. That's kind of bizarre. It's almost like an octopus with a face. The ancient flame dragon. Oh, I'm sorry, just flame dragon. The dragon bears black scales, more charred than naturally colored. Cracks between the scales glow a dull red until the dragon rears its head and roars. Red embers become bright orange flames as the creature lights up from tail to maw. Flame dragons are capricious creatures, fascinated by dark emotions and destructive passions. The dragons of eternal fire are proud and jealous, quick to anger, and utterly unforgiving. They bring total ruin to entire civilizations for trivial reasons, but their true motivation is the fun to be had. These burning serpents treat rage, deceit, and despair as toys for their amusement. May you be the fire's plaything is a curse often used by the foolish. I don't know about you guys, but I'm finding this artwork to be really, really well done. And it looks like we've got quite a few new dragons. The dragon leaf tree. The dragon-headed leaves of these oak trees sometimes rustle despite a lack of wind, betraying a hint that they're more than they seem. These magnificent trees are imbued with some characteristics of their draconic masters. While most groves consist of only one type of dragon leaf tree, dragons sometimes make gifts of them to cement a pact or as a show of fealty. The dragon giving the tree relinquishes command of the plant as part of the deal. This accounts for mixed groves belonging to especially powerful dragon lords. Dragon leaf trees use fairly simple tactics to deter potential intruders into their master's lairs. They remain motionless or allow the breeze to jostle their leaves to appear inconspicuous. Once enough intruders enter the grove, the trees fire razor-sharp leaves or rain elemental energies upon the intruders, adjusting their position to make better use of their weapons. And they can also live up to 1,000 years. Quite a few different drakes. Eater of Dust. A Shadow Fae. A gray-skinned elf steps out of the darkness itself. Its pair of onyx horns. Oh, see, I'm getting a little glare on the page. I will point out, though, that paper stock's pretty nice. It's a little thicker than what we see from like Wizards of the Coast. Not as thick as like Freely Publishing. But then again, what do we have here? Over 400 pages, probably? Close to 400 pages? A gray-skinned elf steps out of the darkness itself. Its pair of onyx horns seems to absorb the light around it, gives a friendly smile, revealing small fangs. To most, the shadow fae little more than a dancing shadow among the leaves. To savants, they are the creatures that taught the shadow dancers all they know and kept many secrets to themselves. They were once elves like all others, dwelling in the mortal lands beneath the sun. An ancient catastrophe drove them to darkness, and now they are creatures of the shadow. Though they can be found on the material plane, they are inextricably tied to the plane of shadow, and that is the seat of their power and culture. Their bond with darkness allows a shadow fae to slip through distant spaces, traversing darkness itself from one place to another. The shadow fae and the fae themselves play pretty big roles in the world of Midgard, which is the home setting for Kobold Press. The Fearsmith. This well-dressed figure appears elven, save for its featureless face and taloned hands. Known as a Fearseed among themselves, Fearsmiths are servants of Shadow Fae courts and other similar Dark Fae courts. While its mouth is closed, a Fearsmith's face is featureless, save for rows of deep wrinkles. Opening the large mouth in the center of its face reveals long, needle-like teeth surrounding a single massive eye. You may not be able to make out that eye in its mouth. So I would say I'm hoping that the video is nice and clear, because I think we have kind of finally solved that problem that we had a while back where videos weren't looking too sharp. So at least when I double check the videos on YouTube, they look pretty good. So we've got the Queen of Night and Magic. Once again, another character that plays a fairly large role in Midgard. A Fey lady of stunning beauty with hair the color of midnight strands before a shining field of stars. A gown seemingly woven from the night sky drapes her flawless ivory skin. Bright lights glitter like diamonds in her crown and raiment, and some drift about her body and dance near her hand. Her celestial and royal majesty, Sarasta Aestrum, Queen of Night and Magic, is also Duchess of the Heavens, Mistress of Air and Darkness, Lady of the Summer Palace, and Bride of Shadows. The Queen rules the court of the Shadow Fae with grace and majesty, most of the time. Queen Sarastra is the head of the Summer Court, which rules the Shadow Fae in its season. On the rare occasion when the courtly season turns, Sarastra steps aside in favor of her husband and rival, the Moonlit King, who is the head of the Winter Court. The Queen of Night Magic does not bear her moniker lightly. She is a devastatingly potent sorceress, augmented with command over the stuff of shadows. Though her nature is undeniably dark, Queen Sarastra is hardly unreasonable. She is quick to recognize the value in any supplicant, mortal or fey, who catches her royal eye. She is never one to ignore an opportunity to further her agenda or to gain further power over the Moonlit King. The River King, there's actually a, I want to say, I think it's just an adventure. I don't think it's a campaign or a big, long adventure, but there is a River King adventure from Kobold Press. The Firegeist. We've seen these Flutterflesh before in Kobold Press adventures, because I remember the skulls with the pair of wings. The Getter crab. So it looks like we get some of these get little side boxes talking about in Midgard. We've got different ghouls. Empire of the Ghouls is an excellent campaign. If you haven't checked out my review of it, give it a peek. Oh, it's the Flab Giant. This obese bell-shaped giant is blemished by ulcers, enlarged veins, and fungal rashes. Ugh. Gross. The Glass Gator. That's like an alligator and scorpion. And it's pretty bizarre. Flaming Heron says he's just big boned. Yes, I'm fat shaming the giant. A dust goblin. Salt golem. The Grim Jester. The Gug. This reminds me of a creature from the Dreamlands. I wonder, for some reason, I want to say they're also called Gugs. And they kind of have the same kind of look to them. The giant four-armed, two-legged creature steps forward, long claws extended. A large, toothy mouth splits its torso from shoulders to navel. Gugs are giants of the underworld that enjoy smashing and devouring lesser creatures. Their burbling and grunting speech displays a surprising and malign intelligence to those who can understand it. Gugs are occasionally worshipped by tribes of Darrow, and their strange underworld cities are filled with esoteric monoliths and constructs. While Gugs were banished into the underworld by forgotten gods long ago, they regularly flout this prohibition by raiding the surface by night. They also spend much time in the ethereal plane, and some Gug spellcasters, I don't know why I just said it that way, Gug. All right, Agent Especial's rocking out. Good to have you join us tonight. Says, and some Gug spellcasters travel the planes with entourages of Fext or Noctini. Gugs devour ghouls and Darakul as their preferred food. When those are not available, they seem to prefer carrion particular varieties of psychotropic mushrooms, as well as something that is best described as candied bats. Would you care for another helping of candied bats? So we got some hags. This is pretty cool. I'm digging this. But then again, you know me. I always like checking out these bestiaries. I have a lot of fun with them. That's kind of funny. So it's a demon idol. Trapsmith Kobold. This kobold is bedecked in satchels, pouches, sacks, and bandoliers. All of these are bursting with tools, bits of scrap, wire, cogs, and twine, and possibly large eyes blink through the lenses of its goggles. Some kobolds hatch a... Oh, yeah, okay, it is hatch. I was like, wait a second, hatch a bit cleverer. Yeah, I guess that's right. Some kobolds hatch a bit cleverer than their counterparts. These sharp-witted creatures feel driven to fiddle with the world, and those that don't meet an early demise through accident or violence often take up tinkering. Trapsmiths make a kobold lair into a deadly gauntlet of hidden pain. Trapsmiths are adept at improvising on the fly. They can use whatever spare parts are at hand to create simple thieves' tools or construct makeshift traps to fling at foes. Trapsmiths aren't warriors and avoid direct confrontation with enemies that aren't mired in traps or engaged with other foes. If the trapsmith senses that invaders in its lair are likely to get past its traps, it tries to hide or escape. A trapsmith delights in laying traps and snares behind invaders along tunnels and paths they've already cleared and believed to be safe, then luring them back through its handiwork. And if you are not familiar with the Midgard setting, kobolds are a little bit different than, say, in Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. Lorelei. So it is a fae. I'm going to take a guess that it lures men to their doom. Right there, that's what I would take a guess at. Oh, right there it says death to men. Well, so there you go. A dune mimic. The sand surges and shifts. A sinkhole opens and sandy tendrils reach out. Though most commonly seen as dunes, a dune mimic can take the form of a date palm grove, a riverbank, enormous boulder, or other large shapes in the landscape. Dune mimics were created by a forgotten king as guardians for his desert tomb. Somewhere, dozens of them guard vast wealth. Although not intended to reproduce, they begin producing spores spontaneously and replicating themselves. Now they are spread across the deserts. Luckily for other inhabitants, dune mimics reproduce just once per century. Fleming here and says the map mimic, which is on this side, that's just evil. The Necrohydra. Noctini. Okay, so didn't these hang out with the Gugs? Wasn't that what we just saw? A grinning man brandishes a staff surmounted by a rune-covered skull. Blasphemous sigils adorn his clothes, and ashes stain his skin a sickly gray. Noctini are humanoids corrupted by fell power. Their skin is sallow and gaunt even before they smear it with ash, bone dust, and worse materials to wash all living color from their bodies. The Noctini embrace all manner of blasphemous and taboo behaviors to please their masters. The Noctini's lust for power drives them away from decency and reason. They are initiates who form the lowest rung of Fext society. They swear themselves into service to the undead Fex as thugs, servants, acolytes, and cannon fodder, and in exchange draw a trickle of power for themselves. Though they arise from any humanoid stock, the Noctini are corrupted by the powers they serve, changing them. Noctini retain the cosmetic traits that identified their original race if one looks hard enough, but any connection they once had to their fellows is overpowered by their transformation into Noctini. Coco P says the Dune mimic reminds them of the terrible movie Blood Beach. I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it. Flaming Heron says Kobold Press just has some excellent releases. They do. They really do. It's one of the reasons why I always, make sure I try to interview Wolfgang Bauer or, whoever wants to jump on in front of the camera from Kobold Press when I go to Gen Con. And they're nice enough to send me a lot of their releases. In fact, the first time I talked to Wolfgang Bauer, it was pretty funny. He was like, he loaded me down with all this stuff. And then I was by myself. And luckily, I was staying across the street at the Crown Plaza, and he had one of the volunteers carry all the stuff over to the hotel. I was like, oh my God. I actually carried it over to the parking lot next to the hotel so I could put it in my car. So we got red caps, rift swine. That's pretty bizarre looking. A roachling. This creature is humanoid, but disturbingly roach-like. Its legs are too short, its arms too long, and its back is covered by a carapace. Atop those features is an incongruously human face, combining the worst of human and cockroach qualities. I love that, the worst. These nimble creatures have a talent for stealth and for fighting dirty. Due to their natural resilience against disease, roachlings are comfortable with filth. Good hygiene is a foreign concept. This leaves most humanoids repulsed by the roachling's smell. Though skittish and easily frightened, roachlings are practical, not cowards. They understand survival often depends on remaining unseen and out of reach, and they are adept at hit and run tactics. All right, so we are at the hour 40 mark, so let's look at a couple more, and then I will wrap up. The Soul Eater. The creature walks on crab-like legs, carrying a fleshy, ectoplasmic-filled mass on its back. Soul Eaters are soul-collecting fiends from the lower planes, where they freely barter for prey. When a Soul Eater dies, the souls it carries are released and returned to their bodies or to their appropriate final destinations. Regardless, a dead Soul Eater has no souls for the demons and devils who value souls as currency. This gives Soul Eaters a measure of safety and power in the lower planes, and many of them operate as neutral merchants among other fiends. Soul Eaters bear a particular antipathy for followers of the deities of the sun. They go to great lengths to kill any such deity's clergy, even defying the wishes of their fiendish superiors on occasion. All right, one more. Living Aaron says, joke's on you. I don't have a soul. Tessie Trekkie says they're curious about the release of Werewolf 5e at Gen Con. I got to be honest, I wasn't even aware of it. So should I take a guess? It is Werewolf the Apocalypse for 5e? All right, so let's wrap up with the Lake Troll. This large, lanky creature has arms too long for its body. Its hands are webbed and equipped with wicked claws. Its skin is covered in dull green scales and embedded with stones, and limp hair like scraggly seaweed hangs across its long-nosed face. Water-dwelling cousins of the more common trolls, lake trolls are both stronger and slightly more intelligent, but thankfully less common. Accompanied by a reek of old, rotting fish, these slimy creatures live beneath the surface of lakes, ponds, rivers, and sometimes even ocean coves. A lake troll is savage in the defense of its claimed expanse of territory. Any encroachment into the creature's water is met with sudden violence from the depths. Fishermen are the most vulnerable to these attacks, especially when they explore new bodies of water. Even seasoned soldiers are wise enough to fear the claws of a lake troll. A person with no weapon facing the creature is doomed. Lake trolls delight in splintering wood and twisting metal with their talons, and in shrugging off the deadliest of blows with their tough hide. They often prioritize wielders of grand weapons because they delight in the horror brought on by dulling their prey's weapons with a few strokes of their powerful claws. Lake trolls are cunning ambushers. They make use of the water to cover their attack and to protect themselves from the flames of would-be troll hunters. Nice. Cool. So we end up with how many pages? Yep, we're over 400. Then it looks as if, what did we wrap up with here? It looks like we've got an appendix of some sort. NPCs, there you go. So we get some new NPCs. We have creatures by type. Should have creatures by terrain. Yep, there we go. Creatures by terrain. And then we wrap up with some ads. And of course, I thought that was pretty cool that they, did a remaster of Tome of Beasts, because I didn't have this. I had Tome of Beasts 2. I've got Tome of Beasts 3. Did not have the first Tome of Beasts. So I was like, oh, cool. Now I do. I've said it time and time again. I really, really dig Midgard. If you are looking for a very interesting, kind of dark, but not overly grim dark sort of fantasy setting, I definitely recommend picking up the Midgard World book. Got to be honest, I've never seen the Hero's Handbook, but I definitely really, really like the setting itself. And as I pointed out earlier, the Empire of the Ghouls adventure, it's a really nice, long campaign. Excellent stuff. Really, really top notch. All right, so that is a peek inside Tome of Beasts Volume 1, the 2023 edition from Kobold Press. This is available now. The hardcover is available for $59.99. You can grab the Pocket Digest, which I've already explained how you can win. Yes, my copy right here. All right, told you how you could win it. This is $29.99, or you can grab the PDF. Normally that's $29.99, but you can save a few dollars if you pick it up over at Drive-Thru RPG during the current Christmas in July sale. Yes. All right. So once again, I will remind you how you can get into the running to win this copy of the Pocket Edition. So 3 things. 1, be a subscriber to the Gaming Gang channel. 2, please give a thumbs up to the video. I can't tell if you do or not, but please do. And then 3, let me know which of the creatures that we kind of, I shouldn't say I stopped and focused on as we were flipping through. Which one was your favorite and why? And I will choose one of the lucky commenters, and I will reveal the winner when I share my review of Tome of Beasts I, the 2023 edition. So I pointed out, I had some more stuff show up today. So I received Knight, which is from Armored Games, so RPG. So we will take a look at this after I get back from Gen Con. But I also got 3 more Kobold Press releases. So I'm thinking what I might do is the week after I get back from Gen Con, doing a Kobold Press week. So because I have 3 releases, we could do the 3 nights. And remember, the change of format isn't going to take place until September. So I received Prepared, which is the collection of the kind of one-shot adventures. So got that. Flaming Heron says they back tonight. Tessie Trekkie says Night was a fun Kickstarter. And I also received Wastes of Chaos. And it's accompanying Tales from the Wastes. So, like I said, I think we'll do that trio the week after Gen Con. So there is that. Hey, once again, big thanks to Wolfgang Bauer and the fine folks over at Kobold Press for sending along Tome of Beasts Volume 1. All right, that is it for this time out. No shows next week. I will be at Gen Con. Stay tuned, though. You should see interviews pop up on the channel during Gen Con, because usually I crank those out pretty quickly, like real quick edits and then pop them up. So keep your eyes peeled on that. I should have some other videos later on this weekend. Probably have the Paizo preview for July 2023. So keep an eye out for that, because I will be taking a look at Rage of Elements. I know a lot of people are pretty pumped to see. So, there's always something cooking. Anyway, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because not only will it let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as those interviews that are coming from Gen Con. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you will not find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live, took part in chat, big tip of the cap, because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as well, especially when I'm doing these page throughs and things like that. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos on this channel. Of course, if you are at Gen Con and you see me floating around and I'm not in the middle of an interview, by all means, say howdy. Say hello. I always like chatting with folks who actually know about the website and follow the channel. All righty then. I will be back in a couple of weeks. So everybody enjoy the rest of this week, the weekend, next weekend. And then I shall be back. And of course, I hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.